Let's talk about Toni Morrison's novel, Beloved. Toni Morrison's novel, Beloved, was published in 1987, but it's already considered to be a classic of American literature. In 2006, the New York Times Book Review named it the best book of the last 25 years, beating out American classics by Philip Roth, John Updike, Cormac McCarthy, and Don DeLillo. Here's what the New York Times critic A.O. Scott had to say about the novel. Any other outcome would have been startling, since Morrison's novel has inserted itself into the American canon more completely than any of its potential rivals. With remarkable speed, Beloved has, less than 20 years after its publication, become a staple of the college literary curriculum, which is to say, a classic. Beloved was actually Morrison's fifth novel, but it's widely considered to be her greatest. It does pose a few challenges for the reader, so if you and your book club would like to take this book on, I want to give you a few suggestions on getting started. As the novel opens, you might think you're reading a ghost story. There is indeed a supernatural element to this world that Morrison has created, so set your expectations for that and go with it. The other thing that happens in the first pages of the novel is that a lot of characters are introduced at once, and it might be hard to keep track of the relationships among them. So, as is true with many novels, you might find it helpful to put together a character list to keep track of them. Another thing that gives some readers trouble with Beloved is the diction. Diction means word choice. And the diction in this novel is very lyrical and poetic, although it never passes over into sentimentality. So what you'll hear as you read Beloved is the voice of a skilled storyteller. It's a kind of unique voice, and you have to get accustomed to it and then just follow it as it tells you the story. You may also find that Morrison leaves a lot assumed and unsaid in this novel. So as you're going along, you may find that there are gaps in your understanding. Those gaps are intentional. In fact, you might even think about and talk about with your book club how those gaps in your understanding work thematically in the novel. Just keep reading, and then as you start to fill in your understanding, you can always flip back and fill in the gaps of what you didn't understand earlier. The novel is broken into sections and chapters, neither of which have titles to guide you, and there is some shifting in time, some flashbacks to earlier incidents, but I think you'll be able to identify those when they come up. Despite any challenges you might face, Beloved is well worth a read and a discussion with your book club. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that if you were to read only 5 books from American fiction in the 20th century, Beloved should be one of them. Read on!